welcome to part 7 of my chain link earring series, in which I'm using large links of chain to make earrings. So there's the large link I'm using in this one. Some of the other materials I'm going to be using are an ear wire, a large bead, a button, and I'm also going to use a head pin. In addition to those, we're going to have some seed beads and some 24 gauge wire. I'm using vintage art metal wire because it's got that gunmetal type color that goes with my link. So I'm cutting about 12 inches or so of that 24 gauge wire, and I'm going to fold it in half. So I'm just matching the ends there and bringing it up. I'm not going to make a crease there, just a little bit of a curve. Now I'm going to take the two ends and put them into the two holes of my button. If you have a 4-hole button, you would do that at the ones that are the holes that are diagonal from each other. But this is just a 2-hole one, and I've pulled that all the way up. And then I slipped it onto the bottom of my chain link there. And I'm going to hold it from the front and take one end of the wire and wrap it around my big chain link and then pull it tight. And then I'm going to do that on the other side. Pull my wire around, insert it from the front to the back, kind of arrange it, and then pull it tight. And I'm trying to keep these wires up behind the button so they don't distract from anything. So I'm going to do the same thing again. Take one wire, insert from the front of there, and kind of ease it behind the button and pull, and then go to the other one and ease it behind and pull. Now this is a little fiddly here. The button doesn't really want to be there. You can see I'm keeping all those loops there behind it. I'm going to do another one of those wraps. This time while looking from behind it was just easier to hold it from the front like that until I got it to this point. So again, I've wrapped it. This is the third wrap around. Now I'm going to help secure that button just a little bit because it's wiggly. So I'm going to take one of those wires and wrap it around my button just like that until it's back up where it started. Then I'm going to take the other one and go around the button and then pull it back up where it started. And then I'm going to wrap from backwards the wire around and do the same thing with the other one. And then tighten everything up. And again, all of that's got that button nice and secure on there. It's not jiggling like it was. And all of my wires are hidden neatly behind that button. Just like that. Now we're going to start adding the seed beads. See, I'm checking the security of everything before I get to that. So I'm going to take my wire and insert it from the back and up, making sure that where the wire crosses the chain link is right where I want my first bead above that button. So I'm going to get that bead on there, hold the bead, and then wrap that wire around that link and pull everything tight. And again, that wire is coming out right where I want that next bead. So I'm going to slide that on there, hold everything in place, and wrap. And I'm going to do one more bead. I'm trying to get that wire right where I want it. And I'm going to get that bead on there. And then again, I'm going to wrap. After I get my initial wrap there, I'm going to go ahead and do a couple more wraps. Now I'm going to make sure these are not on top of each other per se. They are going to be like next to each other so that they lie nice and flat on the chain or the link. So I'm going to fiddle with that a little, make sure all of those wraps are going around neatly. I'm going to get that good and tight, and then I'm going to take my flush cutters here and I'm going to trim my wire. You can see now I want my wire to go there inside of my chain link. So I'm going to pull that out just a little bit so I can trim it. I'm trying to get right where I want it so I can trim it. And then I am going to take my chain nose pliers and use that to press that where I've trimmed it down against that link so that that end of that wire isn't poking up to hurt anybody and doesn't have, won't possibly get pulled loose. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm getting my wire right where I want it above the button so that when I put my bead on there, it's going to fall exactly where I want it. I'm going to thread that bead on there and then wrap and make sure that wire crosses right where I want my next bead and thread on my bead and wrap. Now, if you wanted to continue this all the way up or want those spaced a little closer together, that's completely up to you. Personalize this the way you want it. This is just how I decided to do it to give just a little extra interest here on this chain link. So I've gotten my third bead on there. I've done my first wrap, and I'm going to go around 1, 2 more times and then leave that wire there so that when I trim it with my flush cutters, it will tuck on the inside of that link. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and warn you all next that this next part really should be the easiest part of this tutorial, but I had a bit of a snag and I kept it in the video so y'all could see me work through it. So I want y'all to see what I do. So that's beautifully done. I could add right here my ear wire and be done. But what I decided to do was to add a little black bead dangle to hang kind of in the center. Now, first off, you see, I realize my head pin is missing. So I fortunately had some off to the side. So I grabbed me a head pin and I'm going to thread it on to my bead and it slides right off. So I'm going to try again. I flipped the bead over and I'm like, okay, oh, no, that still slipped off. So I realized that the head of my head pin was too small for my bead. And I checked my other earring to make sure that wasn't the case there. So I go and get another head pin. I'm going to straighten it out and put that on my bead and I test it. You see, I'm testing it. Oh, and that seems secure. So I'm like, yeah, good. So I put up my other head pins and I'm going to grab my round nose pliers and start to make a wrapped loop. If you've watched my other chain link series, you know that I really like wrapped loops. If you prefer simple loops, that is fine. So here I'm trying to make this wrapped loop. I'm about to wrap it and that bead falls off again. Y'all, I was so frustrated at this point. And so I sat and I thought about it for a minute. I looked at my head pins, trying to decide if another head pin would work. I think I tried some other ones, looking to see if they would work. And in the end, what I came to discover was that particular bead, the hole in it was drilled larger than most typical beads. So super frustrated right here, but I had more beads and that was lucky for me. So I go across my room real quick. I've got the camera recording during all of this, but I wanted you to take this little ride with me in problem solving to show you that it doesn't have to be complicated. Just, figure out what the problem is and you can come up with a fix. So I figured out that the problem was the hole in that bead in particular was too big. So I got another bead and you see me, I'm testing it, retesting it, and it is fine. So I'm putting away that larger hole bead and I'll use it for something else. I can wrap that more securely. So now I've got a head pin on there, and I'm going to make my wrap loop. I'm using my round nose pliers to bend my bead, make a loop, and then wrap the loop. I have a tutorial on how to make a wrapped loop. Like I said, I like these because they tend to be more secure than a simple loop. But if you like simple loops or feel more comfortable with that, do that. I just like these myself. Alright, so I've got that wrapped. I'm going to kind of make sure that's nice and tight on there before I take my flush cutters and trim it and tuck that end. And then once that's nice and secure, I'm going to get my ear wires Just a second. I'm trying to make sure everything's nice and secure. So I'm going to use my chain nose pliers again. And with my ear wire, I'm going to open the loop on my ear wires. Now I'm very conscious about which way that faces because I want that button facing out so that when those ear wires, those earrings are worn, that button faces out and not in. So all that wire wrapping we hid behind the button isn't visible the whole time. And then I'm going to just twist close that loop. And those pair of earrings are done. Thank you for taking that wild ride with me. If you have any questions or need some help with your problem solving, just ask below in the comments. I am always happy to help. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Keep on crafting on. Bye.